This is John for Global Women's Sports Radio. Today I'm on the beat. I have the pleasure of talking to Val Whiting. How are you, Val?
I'm great. How are you?
I am doing great. I'm very happy to talk to you. I appreciate your time. I'd like to jump right into it. You had an outstanding career at Stanford. Among other things, you guys won 2 titles. Could you talk a little bit about how exciting that was playing at Stanford, winning the titles, playing under Coach Vanderveer?
It's funny. The first title that I was a part of was my freshman year. I just honestly just thought that was normal. I had come off of winning 4 state championships for high school, and kind of just slipped in. And as a freshman, coming off the bench and being a contributor, I thought winning a championship was that's what Stanford did. And then my junior year, it was very satisfying because we we were not expected to win. We had lost 3 starters the year before. Like 2 of them post players, one is our starting point guard, and then we ended up upsetting Virginia in the semifinals, and they were favored to win the whole thing. They were the #1 seed, and I was a leader on the team, a captain, and a leading scorer. So that was even more satisfying.
No, so the year that you did not win the title, after having won 4 in high school, and then the first year, how was that? Was that a big shock for you?
Yeah, it was tough. We made it to the Final Four, but we had like 2 key injuries. Our starting two starters were hurt themselves. One ruptured her Achilles tendon, and the other one ruptured her patella tendon, and that was like at the start of the game in Las Vegas. So it was actually a miracle that we even made it to the Final Four. But I remember losing to Tennessee and feeling like I let my team down because I didn't play as well as I wanted to, and I was just ready to get back to work for the next season.
After Stanford, you went on to have a very nice professional career. You played in a couple of leagues here. You played overseas, I know. Could you talk a little bit about transitioning to the pro leagues?
The hardest thing about being overseas is you're in a country that you don't know anything about, and sometimes you speak the language. Most of the times you don't. And so my first year I was in Italy, and I had graduated college in '94, and actually got into medical school. So I told the medical school that I'm going to go play professional basketball for 2 years overseas, and I'll be back. And end up obviously not going back. I played in Italy and then Brazil, and then in 1996 the ABL, the American Basketball League, came about, and I ended up being put on a team called the San Jose Lasers. Interestingly, the owner of the San Jose Lasers is the owner of the Golden State Warriors today.
Wow.
So he was a big believer in women's basketball back then, and that league lasted 2.5 years. Ended up folding halfway through the 3rd year, and we all ended up going to the WNBA, even though it was 90 women, but it was only 20 spots for us. So it was very competitive, and the WNBA Players Association put a limit on how many ABL players can be on the team, and a lot of ladies lost their job.
Wow, that's that. Wow, that's that. I didn't realize that part of it. That's really tough. Um, you did go on to play in the WNBA though. What do you think the main difference is, or how do you feel about the growth of the league from when you played versus now?
Um, when I played, it just felt almost like a college game because it was 20-minute halves. Um, there was no illegal defense or defense of 3 seconds, so it was a lot of congestion, and I didn't feel people got a chance to really showcase what they could do. Although there were players like Cynthia Kupia who dominated and show swoops. But today, every generation has bigger, stronger, faster athletes as you keep moving forward, and I see that now in the WNBA players just being better athletes and getting exposed to certain skill sets early. Like there are girls in high school now doing pro moves I didn't even know until I was a pro. So the game is constantly evolving and moving. And I'm excited about what the WNBA is going to be this year, the 25th year. The season kicks off May 14th. But I'm also excited about the college players that are coming up as well as the high schoolers.
So obviously you still follow the WNBA. Do you have a team that you root for?
So Elena Deladon is my favorite player. We're both from Delaware. We both went to the same high school. So I normally root for the Mystics, but I live in Seattle, so my team is the Seattle Storm.
Well, you got the champ.
Yes.
I'm from Chicago, so I'm a little bit upset about Deladon, leaving Chicago. That one really hurt, but I think the Sky are back and ready to challenge for titles at least, hopefully. But as a woman of color, how do you feel the last season that the WNBA did a lot of great work with the social justice movement, with standing up for the rights? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I was really proud because honestly, it's a really big risk. They're risking their paychecks if by protesting and what they're doing, and the paychecks aren't really as they can't really afford to miss a paycheck is what I'm trying to say. So I thought it was really brave. I thought it was an opportunity for people to see how wonderful the women of WNBA are. They're not just people that shut up and dribble. They're women that are deep and have multiple um, desires for this world to be a better place. So I was proud to be a former WNBA player just from watching the difference that they made.
I thought it was amazing that the league, as a league, came together and said, "We're going to make these statements. We're going to do social justice work." I thought that part was amazing, and all the players jumped right in on it.
Yes, and it just shows that it's a players' league, and how powerful the players really are on both sides, the men's and the women's side.
Now, back when you were playing in the WNBA, did you foresee the growth? Did you foresee that? Now we're in the 25th season, and we had some great viewership last season. Did you see that coming?
I didn't really think about it because when you're in your 20s, a lot of times you have tunnel vision and you don't think 10, 20 years down the road. Um, but I'm just honestly just after going through a league that folded, I have a different perspective than someone who was in the WNBA the whole time. So the fact that it's lasted this long is no small feat. And yes, I know that the NBA helps fund WNBA, but you got owners on the WNBA side that are not giving up on women's basketball. And there are people that are not even making money, and are still keeping teams going because they believe in women's basketball so much.
That's an excellent point. You're right. The WNBA or the NBA does help the league, but the league survives. I mean, the league is thriving. It's got last season when they came out the orange hoodie and everybody was wearing
Yeah,
them.
yeah.
I know in Chicago when we just got Candace Parker. I've never seen Chicago this excited about Sky basketball.
Oh
I think it's
wow.
fantastic. But onto a little bit, not that that's not a serious topic, but onto a little more serious topic. When you were young, you endured some bullying. You endured a lot of racism, stuff that ugly issues. How did you find the strength to persevere through that and develop your basketball skills and develop skills? You're a pre-med student. How did you find the courage to muddle through all that?
I think that you kind of just do it, not to sound like Nike. And I didn't start playing basketball till seventh grade, and it came out of the fact that I got cut from cheerleading, and I tried out for cheerleading because I thought bullies wouldn't bully me if I was a cheerleader because I'd be popular. So playing basketball is what helped me through the self-esteem issues that were caused from being bullied. I had a personal bully actually, and the racism, which honestly is kind of it's a norm. So I don't think I'm anyone special. I think most people of color have experienced it, and it makes you angry, but you just keep moving and you keep doing. And a lot of times you use it as fuel for your fire when you're trying to achieve winning championships or becoming All-American or all state.
But now from that, some really good stuff has come out. You've worked a lot with children. I know that you had some after school programs with boys and girls, You were telling me a little bit before we got on the video that you do some mentoring. Could you talk about that, please?
Yeah, so COVID put a, you know, threw a wrench in a lot of what I was doing. Before that, I had an after school program that used basketball to teach life skills and leadership skills to elementary school students. And it was either before school, after school, it was just an hour, but and it wasn't about being the best basketball player. It's more about being the best, you know, having a growth mindset and being willing to make mistakes to get better. And then that got shut down because of COVID. And then I went on TikTok and I started using my account to reach out to athletes. And I saw particularly female athletes were getting bullied. And I would go in their comments and hype them up. And I end up making my account is dedicated to the female athlete. And I call it myself the hype woman for the female athlete. So I have 110,000 followers, and it's mostly girls, and they're constantly coming in and asking about confidence or how do I bounce back from mistakes, or what do you do when your coach does this? And it was a lot of mindset questions. And that got me thinking, like, wow, when I was their age, I didn't have someone like me to help with mindset and athlete mindset and sports psychology. And so I ended up getting certified as a performance mindset coach and developed a curriculum for female athletes called the Fierce Athlete Academy. And it's all about confidence and how to bounce back from mistakes and playing without fear and just the stuff that I wish I knew when I was playing and some stuff I did know. And I just want to pass it on to the younger generation.
Now, I know you can't sum it all up in two quick sentences, but if you could give what advice would you give to a young woman who was in your position back in the day?
The biggest advice I would give, and it's based on a personal experience, is don't let any person or anyone event um, dictate your confidence level. A lot of time, me personally, I had reactive confidence where if I played well, I was confident, but if I didn't play well, my confidence dropped, and that's my biggest. And then I remember getting cut from a national team, and that really rocked my confidence as well. So that's the biggest lesson, to have proactive confidence and get off of the confidence roller coaster and get on the confidence train where you're stable no matter what. So that would have been big for me if someone said that to me.
No, as a longtime basketball fan, obviously I was familiar with your career, um, but I learned a lot today of things that you're doing and your mindset and all that. Have you ever thought of writing a book? Because I just talked yesterday to Sugar Rogers, and she just came out with a book about
Oh, wow.
overcoming obstacles and how basketball helped her in her life. And I think you've got a fascinating tale, and I think it would make a fantastic book. Have you ever thought of that?
Thank you. I'm actually working on that now. Um, yes, yeah. So we're on the
Nice.
same page.
Is that a
Excuse the
scoop?
pun.
Am I one of the first people to know about that?
Uh, I've mentioned it before, so you're probably the second person. Yes, you're one of the first
Okay,
people.
I'll take number two. The number two is fine. It's probably way early, but any idea when that book might come about?
The timeline says July, which is this. Where are we? Oh gosh,
We're
no,
we're
probably
we're in
August.
May.
Yeah, 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 probably August and early September.
Well, that's so exciting. Now I'm really excited. I guarantee you, I will be buying that book because
Thank you.
it's it. I think women in general and women's sports. I cover a lot of women's sports, as from Global Women's Sports Radio. We cover softball, basketball, whatever. And I just think the women are just as elite of athletes as men. They play just as tough of a game, and unfortunately, they don't get the coverage, they don't get the fan reaction. But I do think it's changing. Do you see women's sports in general advancing to a better level?
I do. The one reason why I tried out for cheerleading in seventh grade was that being an athlete wasn't seen as cool and it wasn't really encouraged. So now girls are encouraged to play sports, and there's so many studies about the positive effects that playing sports has on a, a young lady's self-esteem and confidence. So yeah, sports being a female sport athlete has come a long way, but we still have so far to go. And I say that because of the coverage, but I see a lot of bullying happening to female athletes just because they play sports by boys. And that's been really bad. That was the one thing that was eye-opening for me being on social media, is seeing how girls are being discouraged from playing their sport because they're being bullied for it.
Are there any like one or two things that you would suggest or you think women's sports should do to help themselves, to market themselves better, to improve their exposure?
Well, one thing I don't know if you ever noticed this, but um, we never find out a WNBA game is on until like the last minute. It's like we'll know the Christmas game is coming on for LeBron versus Kawhi Leonard, 2 months in advance. But I'll find out the day before, and so I don't think a lot of times the TV stations are really pushing or marketing the WNBA, and I wish that were different. Like there's so many opportunities. I'm watching an NBA game and Major League Baseball comes on as the next game, whereas they could be promoting the start of the WNBA season. So I think marketing could be better from the TV stations. And I also know that with the last year's collective bargaining agreement, the NBA is going to dedicate $1 million, I think, every year of the collective bargaining agreement to marketing.
That's excellent. It's certainly going to help. With no disrespect to the men coaches, do you think the WNBA should have more female coaches? Do you think that would help at all?
No, I don't think
Well,
so. I just think um, people compare the NBA to the WNBA, and they feel like we're supposed to look like the NBA. And women's basketball never looked like men's basketball down to high school, never. So I think it just needs to be an education on what is good basketball. We need to get more women watching because I don't think enough women are watching women's basketball. That's another thing, and promote the heck out of it. Don't just make a last ditch effort when the season's 2 days away.
no, totally agree. I'll let you know a secret. I enjoy women's basketball more than men's basketball. I truly do. Couple last questions, a little bit more on a lighter topic. I know you played actually, and you've been obviously in Italy, Brazil. Are there any? Can you name like two or three places, your favorite places where you've been?
I love Brazil because I blended in. Like Brazil has the largest African descent population outside of Africa. So I loved it there. When I was in Italy, I used to stop traffic because nobody looked like me. So I like Brazil for that. And the people were so great. They love women's basketball there. And I feel like every other day was a holiday. Italy, I didn't like it that much. I think I was really immature, but I loved the food. The
Oh,
food
yeah.
was amazing.
Excellent point. And um, what do you like to do when you're not? I know you're a very busy woman. Mentoring and your online stuff. What do you like to do in your spare time?
Oh, I like to exercise. I got to lose this COVID-19 I gained, first of all.
We all do.
Yeah, exercise, reading, well, more audible. I love listening to books. I have a puppy that I got, a pandemic pup, got him last summer. So working on training him. We start classes next month. And I have he's not a teenager anymore. I have a 20-year-old son and a 16-year-old son.
You need to be busier. You're just not doing quite enough stuff. Val, listen, I totally appreciate your time. This has really been a pleasure for me. As I said, I'm a longtime WNBA fan. I'm very familiar with your career. It's totally a thrill to talk to you. When your book comes out, please reach out to me. I would love to interview you again and help promote that book. I can't wait to read it. I guarantee you I will be one of the first people to buy it.
Thank you. Oh, did you hear about the Atlanta Dream coach leaving?
Yeah, to go to college.
Yeah, what do you think about that?
Well, it was interesting because Atlanta's had a lot of turmoil with the owner situation and all that. Um, I'm surprised that, unless it was in the works already, maybe she wanted to get away from the previous owner and it was in the works. I found that the whole thing was rather odd.
Yeah.
What's your take?
I feel the same way, especially with this. The season is like around the corner, so I don't know who's going to step in. Hopefully, there's some former players that probably would want that position, like Crystal Robinson, um, coaches. She was the assistant coach in the Dallas Wings last season, and well, Katie Smith. I think she's at Minnesota. She used to coach the New York Liberty as a head coach. So hopefully, maybe they'll give a player a chance.
That would be great. I'm not familiar with Katie, but Crystal, I talked to a lot last season. I was in a lot of Zoom sessions for a few teams, and with the Dallas Wings, I talked to Crystal a lot. And very bright woman, extremely knowledgeable in the game. I would love to see her to get that. That
Yeah,
would be fantastic.
that would be great.
And
Oh, that'd be
again,
awesome.
I have no disrespect to the men's coaches, but I do think that having more women coaches in the league, I would like to see more of that. But I'm sorry, I cut you off a little bit there.
No, I was gonna. I agree. I totally agree. Oh well, Katie Smith. She's in the Naismith Hall of Fame. She played at Ohio State. I don't know how many Olympic gold medals she has. She's probably one of the best shooters of all time for women. She played in the ABL and the WNBA.
Oh yeah, no, I've heard of her. I just never, I didn't
Oh,
have
knew
the
she was
chance.
coaching.
Yeah, I
Oh,
didn't have the chance to talk to her last season. I was covering I think 6 teams, and I never had the chance to talk to her. But hey, either one would be a great choice, and
yeah,
hopefully they get something going on there because I'd hate to see the season just go down in disarray.
yeah.
The players have worked way too hard to be let down at that point.
I know. I feel for them.
But
Yeah.
before I let you go, is there anything you want to promote? Is there any place people could find you online, your social media stuff, whatever you want?
Oh yeah, sure. On TikTok, I'm on at I am Coach Val, and then if they want to check out my academy for athletes, it's Fierce Athlete dot Academy.
FierceAthlete.academy. People should check it out because you've got a lot to teach people. You've got a wealth of experience, and really, it's one of the most pleasant interviews I've ever had. So
Thank
I sincerely appreciate your time. I hope you have a great evening. And I mean it. Contact us when that book comes out because I want in on that.
thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Val. You have a great evening.
You too, John.
Thank you.
Bye.